And you have been unable to secure the border, you meaning Republicans. You have also been unapologetic about trying to take down Speaker Mike Johnson. Your motion failed last week. You're being criticized, Congressman, because of the timing. We're 6 months away from an election, and you are, quote, creating disruption.
You absolutely love to see Marjorie Taylor Greene getting lambasted on Fox News for her and her MAGA Republican faction's incessant failure. Even if it is coming from Maria Bartiromo, who you're probably most familiar with through her previous work.
You didn't file your paperwork last night.
And Marjorie really tried to save some face in this interview after going essentially radio silent after her humiliating defeat last week in her attempt to oust Speaker Mike Johnson.
Declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant.
And this was her attempt to come back and give a coherent response to her cabal of critics. Whoops, apologies folks, that was the wrong clip of Marjorie, though I will say she sounds a lot more coherent in that one.
What do you want to say to those people who are criticizing you for these efforts?
Thank you very much for that question. You know, the disruption, the chaos, and the drama is in American people's lives. My friends aren't rich billionaires like many of the donors that my colleagues only listen to. My friends and family are regular people, and my constituents are regular people that are sick and tired of being kicked in the teeth every single day.
And Marjorie knows a thing or two about getting kicked in the teeth. It's how she lost so many brain cells to begin with.
You have to accept the fact that the government totally wants to provide surveillance on every part of your life. They want to know when you're eating. They want to know if you're eating a cheeseburger, which is very bad because Bill Gates wants you to eat his fake meat that grows in a Peachtree dish.
That are sick and tired of being kicked in the teeth every single day by the stupid decisions in Washington, D.C. You know, our wide open border is the only border we should be focused on.
Right, the wide open border that's anything but wide open is the only one we should be focusing on. And by focus, I mean complain about constantly and then do nothing to address, because then Trump won't have anyone to dehumanize at his campaign rallies.
The former president also used harsh language about migrants, saying he doesn't consider some of them to be people, later calling them animals.
Also, I asked Mike Johnson this week, I said, look, if you'll defund Jack Smith, then I'll reconsider this motion to vacate. And he told Playbook last week, no, he will not defund Jack Smith. The weaponized government is one of the most terrifying things we're seeing. President Trump is being prosecuted not only by Biden's Department of Justice, he's being prosecuted by radical DAs that are funded by George Soros in multiple states. And this is something the American people are sick and tired of. They're fed up with Republicans that will not defend President Trump.
No, Marjorie, I think people are fed up with Republicans in general. Also, have you considered the fact that Trump is being prosecuted by all these different people, not because it gives George Soros a hard-on, but because he's a fraudulent fascist criminal? But hey, at least we know even the Republicans are getting fed up with each other. Maybe they'll start taking Trump's words literally and Hannibal Lecter each other.
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner as this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner, but Hannibal Lecter. Congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter.
Seeing as they're already eating each other alive, cannibalism is the next logical step. But boy, would that be bad for Republicans. Less so from an optics perspective, because they could care less about that, but mainly because they'd also be eating away at their slim majority, and putting themselves at further risk by digesting tainted meat.
And our Republican Party, if we want to own the majority coming in January 2025, we need to prove to the American people that we're worth their vote. And so far right now under Mike Johnson, we haven't proven that.
The screeching banshee in the coal mine, folks. It's pretty bad when one of the objectively worst members of your party is yapping about how awful your party is.
So this is new, because when we first talked about you trying to oust Mike Johnson, it was really about Nancy Pelosi's budget and continuing to spend without securing the border. But now you're talking about Jack Smith and defunding these indictments.
Right. If you can't beat the lawsuits, just Defund the special counsel. Law and order, people. Though I guess we shouldn't be surprised that this is the argument coming from defund the FBI dipstick over here. I don't even like Mike Johnson, but at least the guy has the common sense not to just implode the government when it doesn't bend to your every fascist whim.
Playbook asked Mike Johnson about this, and Mike Johnson said that's not something you wave a wand and just eliminate the special counsel as a provision. There's a necessity for the function like that. Followed up, so are you prepared to write language eliminating Smith's job into the appropriations bills? His answer, no. He will not eliminate the special counsel. Look, people are trying to figure out where is the crime that President Trump committed as he sits in that Manhattan courtroom all day. Why do you think Mike Johnson won't defund Jack Smith?
Oh, Maria, why are we doing this? Have you not heard the phrase, ask stupid questions, get stupid answers?
Well, Mike Johnson's owned by the Democrats, and that proved me to be right again. When I called the motion to vacate, it wasn't Republicans that saved Mike Johnson. It was Democrats that saved Mike Johnson. And when you have Nancy Pelosi, who was Speaker of the House when they impeached President Trump twice, and you have Jerry Nadler, who was chairman of the Judiciary Committee that led the impeachment against President Trump, voting to save Mike Johnson, that tells the American people everything that they need to know. Mike Johnson is owned by the Democrats and refuses to protect President Trump, even though he runs down to Mar-a-Lago every chance he gets and hugs him as tightly as possible.
Well, Okay, well, that last part is kind of true. Mike Johnson has been whisking off to Mar-a-Lago every time he needs a little pat on the back from Donald Trump, like he's Don Jr. begging for dad's love. But owned by the Democrats? Come on, Dairy Queen. It's only been 5 days. Did you already forget?
I'll just vote. The yeas are 359, the nays are 43, with 7 answering present. The motion is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
More Republicans voted to kill your motion than Democrats did. He's not owned by the Democrats. Your party just has no ability to govern whatsoever. They are literally on track to be the least productive Congress since the Civil War. Fitting that it would come around again during the Republican Civil War. And they even humiliated her worse by playing a clip of Hakeem Jeffries trashing Republican governance to her face. And boy, is her response priceless.
Even though we're in the minority, we effectively have been governing as if we were in the majority because we continue to provide a majority of the votes necessary to get things done. Those are just the facts.
I mean, Congresswoman, he said it. Those are the facts. They're providing the bridge to get passage of laws.
That's right. And what Hakeem Jeffries said is absolutely correct. And the two-part omnibus that Johnson passed literally delivered Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrat agenda directly to Chuck Schumer, and Joe Biden couldn't wait to sign it into law. But when we have a Republican elected speaker that is unwilling to fight for just a few things that I offered him, then it's proven to Republican voters that we're not doing the job that we were given in 2022 when America gave us the majority.
And she has said this time and time again, and I really want you to think about that for a second. They are elected officials sent in theory to provide legislation and governance on behalf of their constituents. That is their job, and she has on multiple occasions admitted that her and her MAGA faction are not doing their jobs. If you were an employer and your employee said time and time again to your face that they weren't doing their job, you would fire them. And thankfully, she realizes that and seems to see the writing on the wall.
But if we're going to be a Republican conference that can actually deliver President Trump's agenda, then we need to get in shape and be prepared to do that. And while the election is only 6 months away, we aren't ready. And our voters know it, Maria. Our voters know it. They're saying they're going to skip representatives' names on the ballot. They're going to vote for President Trump, but they're going to skip our names. And that's the most dangerous position to be in.
Okay, good. I agree, and I hope that is how everyone votes, just going down the entire ballot and skipping all of the Republican names, because that is the only way we will have a functioning government. And of course, I personally already disagree with Republicans' entire agenda, but that agenda hasn't even been enacted because they can't get their shit together.
Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit, so it's together. And if you gotta take it somewhere, you know? Take it to the store and sell it, or put it in a museum. I don't care what you do. You just got to get it together.
Because the American people don't want another lame duck Republican Congress. And even though Marjorie thinks
the people want a Republican Party that will fight.
That is what we already have. They just fight each other instead of for the American people. Thanks for watching, folks. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and be sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know all of your thoughts down in those comments below. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse and I'll see you all in the next one.